Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning, Ms. Fong.
I want you to describe some of other challenges when women don't get results. Even though they eat well, they exercise well, they even sleep well sometimes, but yet there's something else in them that they might not be aware of that's not giving them the results. And I want you to pinpoint those and perhaps give some tips how to overcome them. And I noticed in some of our clients, so I want you to share for the rest of the lady who might have this kind of challenges. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think number one, before I even get into any numbers or any deep dive explanations, I think one of the biggest challenges people have, not just women, but it relates to the ladies that you're serving, that we're serving too, is the expectation of getting fast results with minimal or 50% of their full capacity effort. Another way of saying that is a lot of us just have a bad relationship with time. Like, we'll expect to do, like, when our brain goes, hey, I'm going to go after that goal. I'm going to go drop 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds. I'm going to get a sexy body. I'm going to get that small waist. I'm going to get my butt to look like she's 25 again. I'm going to make my bum look like 25 again. A lot of times people will go, I expect it to be done in this short of a period of time. When really the body needs this much time to create that result. The expectation's not so bad. We all have some sort of expectation, right? The problem falls into when the expectation becomes a demand. Not a demand on other people per se, but a demand on ourselves, on our results. So if somebody is set out to go, 90-day challenge, right? We do a lot of 90-day challenges, right? And a lot of times, a lot of our females will hit their 90-day goals. And a lot of times they get close, and sometimes they don't get anywhere near close, but they're making progress. It's just a lot slower than some other people. No matter how far in the game they get in terms of building the results, when someone is unhappy with the results, they usually have a tendency to blame everything. And a lot of times, even including themselves. Once that blame game sets in, then the ability to attack the problem further starts to go from high level to, well, I don't think I can do this anymore. Right? But let's look at that for a second. Why is that? A lot of times people do that is because they're comparing themselves. Let me pull up my trusty whiteboard again, because this thing is phenomenal for just making illustration. And I'll be full transparency. I'm just getting more practice now at drawing because I really suck at it and I want to get better at it. So 2 birds, 1 stone, right? A lot of times people have this thought like, oh, I believe that, oh crap, there we go. I believe that I am going to hit this goal in a certain period of time. Right? This is probably better. There we go. They get this thought like, oh yeah, okay, I know I'm going to hit this goal in a certain block period of time.
Is that a female or a male? I'm just kidding. So, I know it's a podcast.
Please don't make me draw an illustration of a male. Yeah, nobody needs to.
Continue.
This is supposed to be a child-friendly, younger adult-friendly show. Yeah. Oh, you bad girl. Okay. So, wow. Moving on.
We have to have fun, right? We need to have some fun.
Body, right? The what?
We need to have some fun, right?
Well, you're definitely having a good time, that's for sure. So, they expect to have this goal, and they just expect to look so much better. Like they expect to have the nice, slightly broad shoulders, the lean little waist, the nice well-figured legs versus the stick legs. And the problem happens when they don't hit that goal. Like, let's say it's in 90 days. And all of a sudden they go, oh, well, crap, this is not happening for me. This is bull. This is crap. This is garbage. Nothing works. I'm going to be destined to look this way for the rest of my life, so on and so forth. When really, all they really got to do is just notice within that time frame, whatever it was, right? 90 days, 60, 30 days, there's always several factors. Like when you get a recipe, let's say there's a recipe and it's got a list of ingredients. And in that list of ingredients, it also has steps on how to. Ingredients are never just one or two things. They're usually 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things, 20 things, right? Well, if ever somebody's not getting the results, all they got to do is look at their ingredients list, AKA their steps. And then they just got to look at that and be like, well, how many of these did I do consistently? And you know what we find? We find more times than less, that they'll do maybe, 90% of number one. Maybe it was sleep. They got to get their 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. They might do 50% of their protein intake, but not 100%. They might do 75% of their water intake, and not even every day, but maybe every other day. They maybe they're an endomorph and they got to keep the carbs low, and maybe they only did carbs, like a carb depletion, on 80% of the time. Well, if you add up all of those and the goal is to get to 100%, anything that's what I find, anything that's less than 70% of consistency done within the period of time, a lot of times produces less than 50% of the actual results they were supposed to achieve. And so this becomes really important, because as long as a person knows their time frame, they know what they were supposed to do, and then they track in the calendar how often they did it, then they can look back and be like, okay, what did I do right? What did I not do so right? What can I do more of? And then they can fix it. But as long as somebody goes, I must be perfect by day 90 or day 120, or I have to look like what I thought in my head, as long as that is the stern goal, then we always feel like failures. It's one of the reasons why students sometimes will get 95% on their tests, and then they'll feel like failures because they're focused on the 5% that they didn't get. But they're 95%. 95% in anything is considered pretty damn good. But as long as they're focused on the 5%, they'll always feel like a failure. And that's why a lot of times people don't hit their goals.
Allan. I'm so guilty of that.
It makes two of us in certain things, right? In certain things,
my children come home.
I'm glad you said that.
95%. Yeah. I ask, what happened to the 5% from a test they get in school?
Right. Right. And then, that happens. And it's good you brought that up, because none of us are exempt from this example. The question that I usually ask people is, are you doing this in places where it serves you? Or are you doing this in places where it's just hurting you? If you're a marksman, for example, and you're trying to hit that bullseye and you're in the Olympics, 95% is a fail. Because most of those guys or girls, they're hitting that bullseye 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. So if you're 95, you're not a gold medalist. You're probably not a silver medalist. You may not even be a bronze medalist, right? If you're competing in a sprint and you are at 95% your full capacity speed, you probably lost, because the guy or girl next to you is probably operating at 98, 99%. Mm-hmm. But those are like extreme things in life, where the demand to be at that 99% or that 100% operational level is mandatory. Is it mandatory for us to be 99% here in our fitness when we've got kids? Well, you guys have kids. I don't have kids yet. Well, I've got one kid. We got my stepdaughter, but she's later on in my life. But you got kids, you got bills to pay. Most people have careers, jobs. They've got home life. You can't just leave your home in a rut. You got to make sure your place is cleaned up. You got other bills to pay. When you have all that stuff going on, is it wise to expect 99% out of yourself all the time? Or would it be wiser to say, hey, look, I'm doing the best I can. I know I did 70%. Why don't I just keep going, do another 30, 60, 90-day challenge and keep at least 70% or above. So even though it takes longer, like if this is a timeline, this is the start to finish line, and I was expecting to finish somewhere around here, if I got up to this point and I'm only at 70%, well, why don't I just keep going? Because I know that if I'm consistent longer, I'm still going to get my results anyway. Right?
Yes. This
So
is very good.
I think Tony Robbins said it best. He said, flexibility is key. And the person who is the most flexible is usually the person who wins in most of their outcomes, like most of their expectations, their outcomes. So let's say you're negotiating with somebody, the person who's too stern, they usually lose. They usually lose the conversation. They lose the deal. The person who's more flexible usually gets it. Let's say you're operating with your kids and you're having a debate about who puts out the garbage. If one of them's too stern, like you must do it, or I demand that I don't throw it out, then usually it's a loss.
Yes.
But if at least one of them is flexible, usually they can come up with a solution. Same with business, same with finance, same with everything, including with our own personal fitness goals.
No, this is exactly what I went through with you doing my competitions. What got me the result is because you as a coach was very, very flexible with me. There were days I didn't do anything. I didn't keep up with my routine. I didn't keep up with my workout. But then you knew we have bad days. But then you didn't really get really angry at me. You understood what I have to go through. Because of that, I was able to get back up on my feet, the following days or following weeks, and I even work harder. So you allow me that kind of space, that flexibility, and which I am very thankful to have. Or else I wouldn't have competed in 5 competitions, right? So I again
won in many of them.
Yeah, you were understanding for sure, and you taught me to forgive myself, to not be so hard, because I honestly was really hard with my kids, with them. Every time they come back home, guess what, Mom? I got 98% in my test, and I would, instead of think, wow, in my head right away, what happened to the 2%? Did anybody else get 100%? That's so long of me to say that. I'm being honest. So.
No, I appreciate the transparency. We've all made that mistake at some level or another. The good thing is that none of us are exempt from it. We all do it. So I'm glad you said it too, because I have too.
Yes.
And the good thing is that we're aware of it, so we can just make it better. We're going to be alive another 50, 60 years plus, give or take. Generalization, of course. We're going to be alive for a long time. So I'm glad that we're recognizing this mistake now. Because it's not getting us what we want. And we're correcting it, course correcting as time goes by. We still got a lot of years to go. And the people that are watching this video, ladies, for those of you watching, if you've been super hard on yourself, the way Helen has on herself regarding certain things, especially your fitness, recognize your time is not done. Unless you have a terminal illness of some type, which I pray to God you don't. You still got 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years to be alive. And if you've only gotten 70%, you have a lot of time to go hit your 100%. Just make sure that you're kind enough to yourself so you still have the emotional capacity to go after your goal.
Thank you so much, Allan.